Humans still rule the web for now. AI written articles haven't fully taken over the internet, at least not yet. A new report from SEO firm Graphite analyzed 65,000 online articles and found that while AI-generated content briefly outnumbered human writing late last year, the two are nearly even, 52% human versus 48% AI. That balance matters. Experts have long warned that if the web became dominated by machine-written text, AI systems could choke on their own exhaust, training on recycled AI data instead of fresh human insight. Graphite used its AI detector called Surfer to test accuracy and found a small false positive rate, about 4%. But the key takeaway was clear. Quality still wins. Human-written pieces dominated Google results and are far more likely to appear in ChatGPT and Perplexity citations. As UCLA computer science professor Stefano Saado said, quote, "At this point, it's a symbiosis more than a dichotomy. Humans and AI are now co-writing the internet." What's the real message here? Half of everything you read on the internet wasn't written by a human being, a thinking, sentient human being, a journalist, an expert. It was written by a computer, by AI. This means you have got to spend real time scrutinizing your sources even more stringently. Otherwise, you could be getting AI slop fed to you by an algorithm just telling you what you want to hear. Let's dig a little deeper here. We do live in an age where so many people say, well, I don't read the news. I don't watch the news. I just get what I need from Facebook, TikTok, and hello to our friends on TikTok today. Sure, there can be great sources of information on any social media outlet because someone took the time to read a real article from a real researcher or a real journalist from a reputable scientific journal or a reputable news magazine or news outlet or TV network. So it's possible to get good news from social media, but it's far more likely you're going to see slop because at some point the algorithm detected you like this tribe, you hate this tribe. So it's going to send you more and more stories saying, hey, the people in this tribe you don't like, here's further proof they eat babies. Here's further proof they have two heads. Here's further proof they're stealing from you. And you go deeper and deeper and deeper. I'm a big believer that we need to be teaching literacy and media literacy in particular to young people, but you know what? Old people need to read it too. If you sit in front of a TV all day and you're only watching one channel, even if it's a pretty good channel for news, you're not really getting a full picture. In my own media diet, I really try to get fact-based journalism from across the spectrum. Those of you who watch or listen to Filtered regularly know that I routinely cite sources like the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times, the Atlantic, which is on the more liberal side, and Reason Magazine, which is on the more libertarian side. I'll never forget one day it was an election night. It's sort of an off-year election. I believe it was 1997. I was doing election night commentary for a regional TV network in New York. And I was in a studio in Midtown Manhattan. And I was doing commentary with another commentator, John Fund, who at the time was with the Wall Street Journal. And he was also Rush Limbaugh's ghostwriter. So we were chatting and I said, who do you think is going to win tonight? He's like, oh, I already know. Look at this source I have. And he showed me the Drudge Report. I had never heard of it. This was before the Monica Lewinsky scandal that really made the Drudge Report famous. And maybe it was even the 96 election night, but it was 96, early 97, an election night before the Monica Lewinsky scandal broke. And I could tell you from that day on, I don't think there's been a day where I haven't gone to the Drudge Report. Now, at the time, it was seen as a far, far right, pro-Republican, pro-impeachment online news aggregator. Since then, it's more sort of anti-Trump, but it routinely cites every single possible website news source. First of all, it lists them all. And if there's a story juicy, they will quote Breitbart. They will quote all sorts of other right-wing and conservative and MAGA-friendly news sources. So I expose myself to all of that. But I do make sure I have a grounding in what I consider to be serious journalism. And Wall Street Journal is still a serious journalistic outlet. The New York Times, do they always get it right? Do I have a few nits to pick with them from time to time? Absolutely. Do I think their treatment of Paul Krugman was shabby and they never should have let him go? Absolutely. But by and large, the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, the Washington Post does still deliver serious journalism. Now, has Jeff Bezos kind of monkeyed with the editorial page and run off a lot of good non-conservatives and yet still keeps George Will? Yeah. But when it comes to fact-based journalism about the world, I still find that reputable. And if you are looking for news only from a source that is seen as highly ideological and only on one team, you're really shortchanging yourself. So I urge you, real leaders, really successful people have values, have beliefs, have norms, have preferences like everybody else. But they want to know what's really existing in the world. They want to know how other people think. They want to know what is reality. And if you put yourself in a filter bubble, which is easy to do if you just go to the same sources and you're on social media every day and you click on certain buttons where, oh, something bad happens, that humiliated somebody I don't like, and you share it to your friends, that's what you're going to be inundated with for the rest of your life. And it's going to make you, frankly, a stupid person. I hate to say it in such blunt terms, but that is the reality. Let's look at some more of the facts here. According to this study, again, 65,000 URLs were studied between 2020 and 2025. According to this research, AI content peaked in November of 2024, briefly taking over humans. Right now, it's like 48%. 86% of top Google results are still written by human beings. Chatbots cited human content 82% of the time. AI written articles tend to rank lower in search, but at some point, the real danger and the fear of a lot of people, the fear I have is, do we get to the point where these large language models and these AIs are just creating 10,000 articles every second about every topic, to the point where finding a real story is like going to the beach and looking for that one piece of sand. It might be there, but there's no way you'll find it with the trillions of other pieces of sand in the vicinity. So that's still very much a concern. According to Pew Research, only 6% of users fully trust AI written summaries, and that's why it's wise to be skeptical. Now, full disclosure, I do use AI to do some of my writing. When I do this show here for you every day, 7 days a week, I have AI look at source material from the Wall Street Journal, from the Washington Post, from the New York Times, from other reputable news organizations. It sucks in the data, and then I ask it to summarize in about 160 words. So I can have a setup for my teleprompter. I'm not reading a teleprompter this moment, but typically the first 45 seconds of a segment, I'm reading a teleprompter that AI wrote. So I do use it, I find it, but you have to check it. Sometimes it messes up the facts, especially if you just ask it a question. If I just say, hey, write news stories about what's happening today, it would garble all sorts of things. If I cut and paste and say, here is a story from the Wall Street Journal, it's 2,000 words long, give me a 160-word summary and cite the source. Let's give credit to the Wall Street Journal. I found it's amazingly effective doing that. Now, the other way where I use AI on a daily basis is once the show is over, my team downloads my show, the entire show. So it's typically hour and 10 minutes. So it's many thousands of words. It's downloaded in a transcript format. It's then put into ChatGPT in a project where it then is given the task of turning it into a newsletter where it has a brief summary and then pulls a quote from what I said. It does occasionally mess it up. I wish I could tell you I had the time and energy or resources to really write every newsletter from scratch. Now, here's what I do. You can tell me whether you think that's good enough or not. I say at the bottom of every single newsletter that this newsletter was written by ChatGPT based on one input, transcripts of word for word of what I actually said on the show. And it will occasionally make mistakes. I apologize. If you see a mistake, please notify me. Now, no one has yet notified me of a single mistake in the newsletter, and I've been putting that out now for going on 7 weeks. Doesn't mean there weren't mistakes. So that's how I'm trying to handle this in an honest and ethical way. But make no mistake about it, AI created content is coming everywhere. And if you're a regular of this show, either listening on a podcast platform or watching on YouTube, you've probably seen ads for my interactive clone, TJWalker.AI. Again, it is using AI to create and arrange words. In this case, it's coming right out of my mouth in the AI clone. But again, I believe it's ethical and honest because the only thing feeding the clone are my own words from my own courses, my own books, my own podcasts, my own YouTube shows. So it's pulling from the original source, which is my brain and the words that come out of my brain. So I do think we're going to see more people using AI to expand their reach, to try to go to different formats. It's easier for me to talk than it is to write. Yes, I've written books, but it's much easier for me to talk for an hour than to write 6,000 words. But for some people, they might like to write and then have AI generate that in a human sounding audio, or maybe even in their own voice. So once you create content in any one format, you can then reposition it and repackage it using the power of AI to be in any format. And it is exciting times, but there's obviously a lot of area for misuse and abuse.